It's been 7 weeks since I started the progressive staking, and I've changed a few things around this week. So expect it to be a little bit of a different update this week. So let's jump into it and see how it's gone. Welcome back to my sports betting case study, where I'm just having a bit of a play around with progressive staking plans to see how they perform over a series of bets which is expected to lose. Now, just as a reminder, my hypothesis is that I will not be able to use progressive staking to turn things into a profit, and that the underlying method should have a positive result so that progressive staking could be taken advantage of. But it is showing that I am losing, so the hypothesis is correct in the tests that we have run up to date, but there's been some interesting progressions, at least this week. So the case study rules, as I said in most of my other videos, the selections must have a negative expectation. I am ensuring this by taking all of the bets that are available on the betting exchange between $1.10, I believe, up to $1.40. Now, there needs to be a high number of bets so that I can get through these tests quickly, and over the last 7 weeks I've put in thousands and thousands of bets. So definitely hitting that criteria, and there is a stop loss of $1,000 when I have lost that amount, or the bet that takes me above that loss. So the testing so far, this is test 5, which is currently running. Now, I believe in my last video I said I was going to run it at a 0.8 recovery, but I have decided to use a 0.3 recovery just to try something a little bit different, because the 0.8 and the 1.1s were obviously losing and they lost fairly quickly. I thought, let's just change it up and go for a very low number instead. So that has resulted in an actual profit this week. So out of the 5 tests, we have 2 in profit and 3 in loss, obviously still down overall, but it's looking at least a little bit better with the very fast recovery rate of 0.3. Now, I've still gone with a -2 starting point, which means I need to have at least lost 2 units before I start the recovery. So why did I go with a 0.3 recovery method? The reason I did this was 0.8 was very slow and was not recovering in the short winning runs that occurred. So the losses just were not being able to be recovered back within that time, and it needed a fairly long losing run to get that recovery. So I've gone 0.3, which means after a couple of wins, it will very quickly recover the amount. Now, this obviously adds a lot more risk. So even though I am up, I can drop $1,000 very, very quickly. So we'll see how this actually ends up, but it's been lucky this week, and all of the losses which have occurred have been recovered fairly quickly. Now, the whole point of doing this progressive staking is not that it will eventually lose, because that's kind of a given. We're never going to be able to get on a staking method that tries to bet $1 million or $10 million. That's why we have the maximum recovery, and can it recover enough times to make a profit for the times that it blows the bank? So we're running into 5 tests now. We've tried a few different things. Let's see how this goes. And if it wins and gets over $1,000, well, I'll stop that test there and we'll start again. So for test 5, I'll just put in a few of the metrics and try to keep it fairly short in what I'm putting out here. So the total number of bets that I've had this week on test 5 since it started was 5,048 bets. The current profit and loss on that is $625.36. And this is on the betting exchange, so it is after commission has been paid. And the outstanding loss to recover, meaning that these are sequences which are currently showing a loss and will eventually hit recovery if they get to the -2, is showing around $244.12. And the maximum bet size I've had to have on a losing run is $690, which is quite easy to get on these kind of sporting events where I'm betting on the favourites, so we're talking less than $1.40 odds, and there is generally large enough liquidity to get bets on up to that $1,000 bet size. So no problems with the bet sizes yet, and all of the bet sizes which I have tried to place have been able to go onto the markets. Now that's probably just been lucky in that the maximum bet size I had there was on some very major leagues and major sports which are followed by a lot of punters. It may be very different if it was a lower tier soccer league, or it was a basketball game in a country that not many people follow. So in those cases, the bet wouldn't be able to be placed, and it would wait until a bet is available to be placed where there is enough liquidity, and I have some checks in my program to do that. So I will leave it there. That's where it is. It's nice to be back in a profit this week, but remember it is high risk with 0.3 recovery, so I could lose this very, very quickly. So let's see how it goes over the next week. Do we think this can be a winner? If you do, add a comment, let me know what you think. Obviously, progressive staking is a very controversial staking method, and from what I've seen, it's very high risk, but it can produce profits, but it can also produce a lot of losses very quickly. I hope you get something out of this and have fun betting this week. Thanks.